Hello, beautiful souls. I hope you're doing well. Today is my pleasure in this creative intuitive transmission session to share with you a new creation that I've produced, which is entitled Berenaël, Berenaël, that you see on my right here and that you see spelled here on the left, Berenaël. But before we start analyzing or having a look at the symbolism that's inspired this Japanese washi chiyogami paper collage, we will have a look a little bit at the message that was inspired to me today by the Mella collective, which is my soul cluster I am part of. And something important just was inspired to me, which really had to do the message, be yourself, be yourself, be yourself. So I thought, okay, there's a powerful message there. And the title of our session today is called Honor Your Secret Garden, Be Yourself, because being yourself is accepting and welcoming all those parts that make you and that are unique to you. And so in some ways, it is your secret garden because you are this unique being. So first of all, we're going to have a look at the music, the two pieces of music that were inspired for us today, and then which also inspired the title. We'll, connect all of this to the background and to the collage that we've done today. So the first piece of music is a very inspiring, very kind of mystical piece of music by the group Vas. The group Vas is composed of a Persian vocalist who is named Azam Ali. She has this beautiful, beautiful voice. The work by Vas reminds me, and Azam Ali also has done some solo albums, reminds me a lot of Lisa Gerard, which I've talked in many, many CITs before, and that can dance. This kind of mystical world music that's a bit transcendent, very spiritual for me. Often you don't necessarily understand the words, and it's not about the words, it's really about the frequencies. So Vas is a little bit like that. And so they have produced an album which is called In the Garden of Souls, which I find very inspiring and connected to today's message. And the title of the song I'm sharing with you today is called Innamorata, which means, if I looked at the definition of that word, means a woman with whom one is in love with. So there's this notion of femininity, of sacred femininity, sacred feminine, and there's this notion of loving the woman. And I don't know if it's connected to, I think it has multi levels. It can be connected to, the real woman that, we all are, because in male as well as females, we both have the sacred feminine and sacred masculine, which is always the same story with, the two coils of the sacred feminine, sacred masculine being inside of us. And it's important for us in the work we do by going within to really connect with those two parts of ourselves and reunite them. And so I want you, gentlemen, here today, not to take this message too, when I will speak a lot about the sacred feminine, because there is also a lot of feminine energy in our community, a lot of women, but there's also gentlemen I want to honor. But I also want to honor, gentlemen, the sacred feminine part of yourself, in this session as well. Some elements of the song, some words of the song, speaking softly of our thoughts, I'm seeing you for who you really are. So it's a love song. Unfortunately, it's a little bit of a sad love song, so I'm not going to go into all the words. I decided to really focus on the aspect of this song, not so much about perhaps a little bit of like the sadness of the love song there, but mostly focusing on the beautiful sacredness and high vibration of the voice and the frequency of the music, which is quite spiritual, very, very high vibe. But also this notion of I'm seeing you for who you really are. And, it's a person who talks about a woman he or she loves. And I think this element is really at the center of this session here today, which is about this love for oneself. for who we really are in all our complexity and all our multidimensional aspect and our multiplicity, and honoring that and being proud of that and honing that and honoring it, and not hiding it. So this is kind of how I want to take this song here in terms of messages, is really seeing ourselves, yes, as beautiful beings incarnated on Terra with beautiful avatars, but also beautiful souls, because we're both, and both are unique, and both are, in a way, multidimensional, because we're so complex as beings. Even in our avatars, we're so complex. We're more than just our body. And even our bodies are complex because they're made of multi strands of DNA, and multi cultures that have influenced, who we are as avatars as well. So that makes us complex and unique. So this is for this song. The second song was a song entitled Perfume de Gardenias, that is sung by Ibrahim Ferrer, who is a Cuban legend singer, who has now deceased, but a very, like a real legend of Cuban music and singing. And he was amongst many other ensemble and groups. He was a Buena Vista Social Club, which is more known, but and this beautiful song Perfume de Gardenias was composed by Rafael Hernandez Marin, but interpreted by Ferrer in this case. It's interesting because it's very different from the song by Vaz. I'm trying to find the right words here to honor that song. It's very, very romantic, Cuban style, very sensual, very feminine. It's honoring the sacred feminine, like to a point where there's like no return. It's really about the love for a woman. He describes this woman being so beautiful. He compares her to goddesses and her beautiful body and hair. And, it's really a nod and a homage to the sacred feminine, to the beauty of the feminine aspect. But again, it's really important not to restrict this just to the feminine. I think it really can be taken to the second level of interpreting this as the honoring and the ode to all of our sacred feminine, even as gentlemen, but also to the unicity and beauty and royalty, if you want, that often Alex and Elena speak about, of our beings, of our souls. And we are in those avatars as well. We are, we're really amazing beings because we have this capacity to create things, but we are unique. Each of us is very unique by the whole makeup of our genetics, of our experiences, of our previous lives. We're just, treasures and jewels in that way. And, in this beautiful song, he says, y llevas en tu alma la virginal pureza, por eso es tu belleza cual místico candor. And how I could translate it is that you transport in your soul the purity, a virgin kind of purity. For this, your beauty is like a mystical candor. I mean, it's like, wow, and again, for me, I don't see this just as a nod to the beautiful woman he describes, but also to a nod to our souls, our unique, beautiful souls, but also our unique and beautiful avatars as beings on Terrahu. And so this song is very different in style. You'll see it's very, very like romantic. Like I'm an old romantic, so I'm kind of old. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I wasn't born in the right century. Like I have this very old romantic way of seeing things. And this song is very, like it's something like our grandmothers and grandfathers would dance on, like very, very gentle and beautiful and romantic and sensual with the Cuban rhythms. But for me, it really honors the love for oneself, the love for, obviously in the song, it's the love for the woman, the love for the beauty. But I really want to take this to another level and bring it to the love the ode, the homage to our unicity for, being ourselves and being proud and expressing this. So that comes to bring to the our background we have here, which is interesting because I'll just push myself so you can see the whole of it. So what's interesting about this background is that we see, again, a reference to the garden here, which really, for me, represents not only the notion of sacred feminine, but also this notion of each of us having this inner secret garden that makes us unique, and not only as, again, Terrahu avatars, but also as souls. So we have a little bit of that element of the garden here represented by this young woman who's just sitting there. But and there's a light there, which I find interesting, which we could associate perhaps with the the brightness and the light of the soul that ignites and radiates in this beautiful, unique garden that each of us are. But there's an element there that I find interesting that I was not expecting, which has to do with a certain form of isolation. Obviously, each of these gardens, I mean, this lady has a connection from her garden to the garden behind through this bridge, but still I find that there's a little bit of isolation there. So I didn't know how to interpret that. At first I thought, okay, perhaps the Mella collective is trying to tell us that we are all unique, and we are all, we should be proud of ourselves and being unique, and really connect, going within, doing, again, as I keep repeating that, doing that inner journey of isolating ourselves a little bit sometimes in order to find who we are and really connect completely with our higher self and who we truly are ourselves. But I also think that there's a double message there where it's important to isolate sometimes to do that journey, but also, again, not to completely isolate ourselves all the time, because if we do, we become like in this situation here where there's no escape, and we end up just being kind of trapped in our inner specificity, which is something that the ego will relish in, will be like, I'm unique, I'm different, I'm isolated from others, I'm better, and that's the risk there. So there is this invitation through the visual message here as well to isolate, to do the inner journey, but to build bridges. And always remember that we are collectives, and that's really important, that when you've done that journey of going within and really connecting to who you truly are, and then when you really know who you are, you're certain of that. Well, it's always a process, I don't like certainties, but anyway, it's a process of discovery. But when you feel you know yourself much better, first of all, you're not in ego anymore, because you know your strength, you know your value. You can have humor about yourself. You can just not take yourself too seriously. You can just be who you are and just be okay with it, be proud of it. But at the same time, there's no ego there, because you're able to connect to others and see their beauty and see their unicity, their multidimensionality, the unique treasure that you say, as our dear Alina keeps repeating in her beautiful videos. I invite you to see her YouTube channel, Infinite Treasure. She often talks about each of us being this infinite treasure. And we are, each of us are. And it's important, especially in those days that are very challenged, where everybody's, we're the deep state is really trying to divide us, even in our communities. We're pressed into trying to divide to be at war with each other and things like that, which the point is always to try to remain connected and collective and respectful of each other. And and it's not always easy, but I think that each of our unicities should be brought in a place where we can all know who we are and stand in our place of liberty, of freedom and sovereignty, knowing who we are, but connecting with others and making bridge. Always making sure that there's bridge between each of us, because if we don't, then there's this isolation taking place and there's rejection of others and things like that. So this is kind of the message I'm getting through the background here. Now, if we go to our collage, which is again entitled Berenaël, there's again this beautiful, and it's probably due to the beautiful songs of Ferrer and the title of the album by Vaz, this notion of the garden. It's also interesting because lately I've noticed that a lot of people are communicating with me and saying, "Oh, I love that pattern, that background paper you see there, which is a mix of blue and silver and a lot of flowers of different colors." It seems that this background right now is really the most popular one. I don't know why. I really love it. It's a beautiful one. It's very alive, vibrant, because there's a lot of movement in it. But it seems to connect a lot with people. So I don't know if it's energetical or if it's just because it's aesthetically pleasing. But anyway, I'm happy to create another one with this because I know it really resonates with people. But further than that, it's really the background itself for me really represents this secret garden that the title talks about, which is really about encountering, doing the inner journey to connect with that unique, that unicity that we have as Terrahu avatars, but also souls, and take a journey into your secret garden and discover who you are. And again, what's beautiful about the secret garden, I like with the image of the secret garden, is that it really has to do with having a place you can go back to when things are difficult outside or in your relationships, or there's always a place to come back to recenter. That's your secret garden. And it's really essential for each of us to do that inner journey, because then it gives us a place of haven where we can go back to recenter, to regroup when we're being challenged or in anger or in sadness or difficulties. So it's also our unique place of where, it's us. It's, what Alex calls hearing your own frequency, or it's the place where you can reunite your feminine and masculine, sacred feminine, masculine energies of the Kundalini, which Elena speaks about as well. So it's always reuniting all the parts of yourself and making them flourish and expand into this unique garden that you are. So this is how I see the pattern behind, obviously, the multiplicity of flowers and movement of what seems to be silvery water. Again, not only gives us the image of the garden, but also the richness that delves within your own secret garden. Then you have that large central red circle, which is very joyful, very for me, often the red and the flowers and the branches and those beautiful flowers remind me a little bit of the feminine aspect, very Gaia associated with earth as well, which is the femininity, but mostly like the I'm trying to find the right word in English. It doesn't come to me right now. Fertility, the fertility of the earth, of Gaia, which also comes into the sacred feminine, which again, I repeat, sacred feminine is not just a female thing. Each man has a sacred feminine within himself. So, it's a nod to that as well. So please, gentlemen, don't take this too literally. And so, this blooming of these branches and flowers for me really represent this sacred feminine within your garden that you come to discover and connect with. Then you have in the lower part, you have the black background circle with golden waves, which represent the challenges that we are all encountering in our lives, but that we can transcend by going within our secret garden and also being ourselves and just trying not to try to be like others and try to fit desperately, which is a challenge for many starseeds, but people in general. And so that's a big challenge. And, this invitation by the Mella Collective to be yourself is really, really crucial there, that, don't be afraid to be all the aspects of yourself, and don't restrain your multidimensionality into just, oh, I'm just this in order to fit. You're so much more than that. So transcend that challenge that our chaotic world is trying to make you fit into a little box, into something very simple, while you're so much more. The upper circle with stars, for me, again, connects us with, the central circle really connects us with the sacred feminine, the fertility, the sacred feminine aspect. The upper circle really connects more with the soul, which is less the avatar, more like our unique soul aspect, our own, perhaps the star seeds, or if you connect with that. And so we're, again, we're multiple. We're this avatar, but we're also this soul that connects to, perhaps star nations, or to even your soul matrix, and everything that's a little bit more out there in terms of grounding your energy on Terra. Then we have a smaller circle, which is both red and creamy like, that connects and bridges between the sacred feminine fertility blooming and the challenges in the lower circle. And that the circle for me is representing the heart. But also, because there's this creamy aspect in the lower part, for me, it also represents the connection to the body. So it's the heart, but also the body. So the importance also of grounding our bodies and connecting with our hearts in order to bloom into our avatars and into our souls. So there's this double element that's really insisted upon here. Then we have the two branches, the golden branches, which are made of the flower of life motif, as usual, a representation of the energy of source, Imana. And this energy of source is, something we bloom into when we are accepting our Terran avatar, connecting to our heart, blooming into our sacred feminine, connecting to our soul. And then we are able to open our wings or open our branches and bloom into the background of our inner secret garden. This is kind of the metaphor we have here. So this is pretty much how, all of this comes together. I want to just specify a little element that I really find important, that's perhaps not as clear or as evident here in the different elements that were brought into visually or iconographically or through the music in this CIT session. But it's really the element of being yourself, not just like, the way you act, the way you dress, the way you are unique in your voice, in your, I don't know, in your style and your way of living, that makes you unique as well. But there's also the invitation there, and I feel it through the Mella Collective's call there, is that this being yourself is beyond this Terran avatar, the Terran experience, the Terran ego. It really has to do as well with communicating and not communicating, connecting to being yourself and being confident and trustful about who you are as well as a soul. There are many starseeds that are listening to these sessions, I guess. And I apologize for people who don't resonate with the starseed concept or don't feel they're not. But for starseeds out there, many of us are in and I say us because I'm still in a process as well, as you probably know, for those who follow my work, is that we're all in the process of discovering who we are in terms of souls, not only our previous incarnations, our soul star family, star nation family, our soul matrix. It makes us very complex and very multidimensional. And sometimes it's difficult to make sense of all this, and especially if we don't have direct, contacts with these species that are part of our soul group. Sometimes it's a little bit challenging to trust our inner guidance or trust our feeling when we receive information about who we are as souls. There is an invitation by the Mella Collective to trust yourself there, to really trust yourself. If you receive names or visions of star nations that you could be, trust yourself, even if it's not part of a book that describes these different species. It's okay. Maybe you're one of these special species that hasn't been talked about yet, and you're going to bring that beautiful knowledge to the world, so it's really important, again, not to try to fit desperately as the black waves represent on the collage. Just take in what resonates with you, just stay connected to your heart and your soul. And if you go within in that secret garden, you will know what's real and what's not in what you receive in terms of images, and trust yourself. Really do trust yourself. And this is something that's interestingly synchronous, because yesterday I had a beautiful opportunity to interview my friend Vicky, who will be whose video I'm going to share on Thursdays this week, who has been the first to restart the whole series of interviews I'm doing on manifesting a positive reality on Terra. And again, Vicky's message was really interesting, because it really had to do with this notion of, she's also on her journey of recovering her memories of who she is upstairs, and her names there, and her family members and stuff. And she was saying to me, sometimes it's challenging because I want to be authentic, I want to be true to myself, but at the same time I also want to keep like a discernment, and I'm juggling with all that. And she'll share about that in this interview, so I think you'll find it interesting and complementary to this session. And it's really about trusting the process, trusting your intuition, trusting your heart. And you can only do this if you do that inner journey in which you really become trustful and sovereign, and sure about yourself, and confident about yourself. So it's a whole process, so I hope that spoke to your heart, and that you resonate with this secret garden that you have within, and that you perhaps are exploring right now. And this call by the Mella collective to be yourself, be yourself. It was really screaming in my ear, be yourself. I was like, okay, I'm taking the message as well, because, so like all of us, I'm also in a journey of, trying to be more myself and more confident. And it's not something that's easy for me as well. So I'm going to leave you now with the two beautiful pieces of music while I'll be creating Berenaël. And as always, the original and the digital file of this artwork are available in my art shop on abigaillerichard.com. So I wish you a lovely day. Take immense care of yourself. Today is day of the eclipse. So without being in fear porn, without being in anxiety, just enjoy this beautiful, unique celestial event. And I hope here in Montreal, we're really going to see it. So I really look forward to it. So I will be sharing that on my Telegram channel, which I invite you to connect to, which I will try to take a picture or a video of the eclipse here in Montreal. So take immense care of yourself, guys. Much love. Bye.
Perfume de gardenia tiene tu boca, bellísimos destellos de luz en tu mirar. Tu risa es una rima de alegres notas, se mecen tus cabellos cual ondas de la mar. Tu cuerpo es una copia de Venus, de Citeres, las mujeres cuando te ven pasar, y llevas en tu alma la virginal pureza. Por eso es tu belleza cual místico candor. Perfume de gardenia tiene tu boca, perfume de gardenia, perfume del amor. Tu cuerpo es una copia de Venus, de Citere, que envidian las mujeres cuando te ven pasar. Y llevas en tu alma la virginal pureza, por eso es tu belleza, cual místico candor, perfume de gardenia. Perfume de gardenia, perfume del amor, amor.
All my gratitude for helping this channel bring high vibrations and high frequencies to more people.